The SIRUI anamorphic lenses have been getting a lot of hype, but what exactly are these lenses trying to achieve? I want to find out if these lenses are actually good value or just another full frame cinema lens with a trendy name. And most importantly, what does that image actually look like? There seems to have been a lot more hype around the launch of these IronStar cinema lenses from SIRUI than normal. And that got me thinking why, because these are not SIRUI's first anamorphic cinema lens. They aren't even SIRUI's first full frame anamorphic cinema lens, so what makes these stand out? I think there are multiple reasons. I think in general SIRUI are just on an upwards trend and on a really good run of momentum when it comes to releasing lenses and other products. But more importantly, I think it comes down to first impressions. Starting with that name, IronStar, that sounds like something that we have not heard before. It does not fit into SIRUI's line of lenses anyway. It feels like something totally brand new. And then it comes down to the design of these things. I think personally these things are beautiful. They look really modern but still look really industrial and well made. And the build quality is very, very good. It's a full metal construction, everything feels really premium in the hand, and in my impressions, I expected it to be a little bit heavier than it initially feels when lifting it, as it comes in at just 990 grams. It has a full black body design, but just on the front we have this silver metallic look, which I think is really cool. It kind of sits on top of the focusing section, what kind of drifts in and out underneath, out of this little cutout, and it's just really well designed. It comes in EF and PL mount, meaning with an adapter you can get this on any single camera you like. It also comes in two options of flares, a blue flare and also a natural flare. And for reference, all the footage you will see in this video is with the natural flare option. The full kit that is available to purchase right now of time of filming is the 35, 45 and 60mm. Do keep in mind though that will have a wider horizontal field. Anamorphic lenses are actually wider than they are tall, so you will get more of a wide lens feel, all said and done once de-squeezed. SIRUI have also already announced there are 3 more lenses on the way. We have a 75, a 100 and a 135 to finish off the kit, and that is a really full kit when you're talking in terms of anamorphic lenses. All the lenses cover full frame sensors. They all consistently have a T1.9 aperture and they are all a squeeze factor of times 1.5. They also have a really good minimum focus distance. It is 0.65 meters, which may not seem good in the world of normal spherical lenses, but when it comes to anamorphic, minimum focus distance is something lenses really struggle with. Now, the way these lenses handle shims is pretty genius. Everything is just built inside the lens. So you need one small Allen key and it releases just behind the aperture gear. There's another rubber ring that is twistable and you just loosen it off, twist it a little bit until you've found your focus point and then tighten it back up and you are done. Now, if you pick up one singular lens inside the box, you're going to get this soft carry case as well as an EF and PL mount. But if you choose to pick up the 3 lens kit, and I'm guessing in the future there will be the 6 lens kit, you're going to get a hard case to protect them and just make it much more easier to transport them around. And what is really cool when you purchase a kit is also included there is a circular polarizer and the variable ND filter. This is actually really good because the front filter thread of the IronStar lenses is 92mm, meaning it is outside the ordinary range of most manufacturers as it normally goes to 82mm. But there's one included inside the kit, meaning that you should be covered, and I'm guessing this is tested to make sure it works with the lens really well. A few more specs worth noting is a 270-degree focus throw. It's not my favourite, it's a bit long for me, but I know focus pullers are going to love this and it's right in line with cinema lens standards. You also get a threaded base mount to give some extra support or height to the lens. Now, I don't believe that for a 990 gram lens you're going to need rod support, but I think this is more here for using these lenses on smaller mirrorless cameras, as you may catch the bottom of your tripod plate or gimbal, and it allows you to mount to the lens, giving it a better centre of gravity. Hopefully I've just covered everything we need to know in terms of specs about these lenses, but let's get into what we are really here for, image quality and what these things can actually do. So, anamorphic lenses are a little bit more complicated than, say, a photography focus lens, and all cinema lenses in general, I would say. And I don't mean technically, I mean in the way we kind of judge them and see what is right or wrong. Sure, you could say this statement about any lens, but when it comes to photography lenses in general, if you are comparing two lenses and one of them is sharper than the other, you could say it is a better lens. But when it comes to cinema lenses, and even more so anamorphic cinema lenses, that is definitely not the case. We chase something that is much less measurable than that, and it is called character. Now, you can ask 5 filmmakers what character means in a lens, and you will probably get 5 different answers. But generally speaking, I would say the character is built up from the imperfections and flaws and the way they shape the image and feel of a lens. So let's talk a little bit about what we get from the IronStar lenses. Starting off with sharpness, these definitely lean a little bit more into the modern kind of image when it comes to anamorphic lenses. They are not going to be as sharp as a G Master lens or a Lumix S Pro lens, but in the world of anamorphic full frame lenses, these are very, very sharp. You do get a little bit of softening and vignette into the edges, but honestly I like this. I wish there was a little bit more, if anything, as that would push more of that character. Next, let's touch on the lens flares. Obviously, these are anamorphic lens flares, so they're going to do the streak across the frame as expected. When you do find them, they're actually quite prominent, but there's a good balance here. They're not just going to be uncontrollably ruining your shots. You do have to actually go out of your way to find them, which for a shooter like me, I do actually prefer, as to be real, I'm not the biggest fan of anamorphic flares and how they look. So let's talk about those out of focus areas, and being a full frame T1.9 lens, there is plenty of it. I believe it's one of the strongest parts of these lenses. I am a big fan. It's very kind of like low contrast, not very distracting, falls off really soft and gradual. You do get oval bokeh wide open. It does start to round off once you stop down. I would prefer that not to happen, but you can't have everything, and I think in general these are really, really strong for the out of focus area. So let's touch on distortion and optics, and we get even more subjective here. Some people want an anamorphic lens that as soon as you put it on your camera, you've got the grunge and the grit and the distortion that just screams, this is an anamorphic frame. Some want that to be a little more subtle, and this normally ties into that squeeze factor, and these being times 1.5 means they sit somewhere in the middle of the 1.3s and the times 2. But there is a lot more to it than just the squeeze factor. The IronStars are a very modern, controlled approach to anamorphic. If anything, you may see a bit of pincushion distortion rather than the barrel distortion, but you will more likely see nothing. You have to really go looking for it to find it in the first place. It really is that classic just cop-out line when it comes to video creation of, it depends what you are shooting. If you're shooting this deep narrative piece or a really meaningful documentary, then yeah, maybe you want an anamorphic. Maybe you're building a world and you want that to aid your world building. Let's say you're shooting a high-end car commercial for a major car brand, and you want something that looks really cinematic, but it has to look true to life. The product has to remain what the product is. In that case, you're going to want a controlled anamorphic lens. In terms of value, these lenses come in at 1,000 USD each. I do believe there may be an early deal discount on right now, which may change in the future. The link is in the top of the description if you want to check out what the pricing is when you're watching this, and also that helps support the channel. And at that price point, I think these lenses are seriously good. I know there is the Blazar lenses that are in the same price point, so people are going to make that comparison, which is fair, but I kind of think they're also two different lenses. The Blazar lenses are really taking the Panavision approach of high grunge, loads of character, barrel distortion, kind of leaning into those flows, where the SIRUI ones are more taking the Arri approach. Controlled, contrast, sharp, and they will only flare when you want them to. And here's a good point about what SIRUI are trying to achieve with these lenses and the price point. Anyone who's owned anamorphic lenses or had them for a period of time will know how difficult sometimes it can be to get them onto jobs. The truth of the matter is, a very lot of your projects and clients will not want anamorphic lenses. You will try and convince them sometimes, you will mention them, show them test footage, but they will just want cinematic, normal footage. So where I see a big benefit of these SIRUI lenses for owner operators, and that is where they're priced, is the fact of you will be able to get them on more jobs. You will show them test footage on how it's not the most extreme look, but it does add a level of kind of cinema. And I think a lot of people will buy it, and I think you'll find yourselves using these a lot more than certain other lenses. But that does not take anything away from what a Blazar lens is trying to be and do. If I was shooting a personal project that really wanted that look, I would definitely go there. But for kind of my workflow and how I deal with video production at the moment, I'm really considering picking up the rest of these IronStar lenses and just leaving it in my kit for when I can convince clients and jobs and projects to let me use them. So who are the IronStar lenses actually for? Well, they're for anyone who creates videos. If you are some sort of filmmaker or content creator in any way and you want to step into the world of anamorphic lenses without remortgaging your house, then these lenses would be perfect. I can easily recommend them to anybody looking for anamorphic lenses. I would just say make sure you know what type of character and look you are trying to achieve from your lens. And you are definitely going to need a good monitor when shooting anamorphic to de-squeeze the footage, so watch this video here.